Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, as always, seems like every time we get on here to talk, there's always something more. It's getting worse. It's getting crazy. And one of the things that we're seeing is that there's more and more people, or at least I'm seeing, there's more and more people that are starting to say, yeah, you may be right. Something doesn't smell right. Something doesn't look right. Something just isn't right. And I'm getting more and more emails from people, probably from those that maybe watch a channel like this more for the entertainment purpose and not so much because they're actively involved in preparedness and self-sufficiency, because they're asking things, what do you mean, like, get your house in order? What do you mean we have to prepare? Like what do we really need to be doing? You know, what's really, what do you mean things are changing? There's a reset and, questions like that. I think because, well, more and more we're seeing the world that we live in change at a pace that we never thought possible. And I think most of us that's been in this game for a long time, while we have prepared ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually for changes and government takeovers, or, natural changes, or wars, or, financial collapses. I don't think any of us probably ever expected things to happen at the pace that we're seeing them happen at. Just a few days ago, we had a governor saying that, all the people that didn't get the thing, well, they're the one to blame for it. We're seeing governments all over the world put people under lockdown or tell them that they can't do business without a little card or some type of identification. We're even seeing Israel just in the last couple of days say that they're locking down all the ones that don't have the thing. They're saying that all those people have to stay in their home. All those people can't go and do business unless they can prove that they're clean, which is actually the word that I believe the Prime Minister used there. So things are starting to really get, I think, serious to the point that it's noticeable. And then there's more things. Before I get going on this video, I want to say something just on a, housekeeping note. We are still dealing with virtually no internet here. Occasionally, I might get a little blip of internet, and I'll show you my internet speeds that I've been recording. That is kilobytes per second. And so I'm able to usually see when I connect that I'm getting emails, but I'm not able to really respond to them. So we think we have that taken care of. We have signed up to a new service. The equipment should be here tomorrow, and we'll be able to do all kinds of things, hopefully. We're gonna, prayerfully keep our fingers crossed that that's all gonna work out, and then I'll be able to start responding. So if you haven't received an email response from me or anything in about a week or so, it's because it's been a week and a half that we've been dealing with this. So back to what's going on. If you guys haven't watched Ice Age Prepper, if you don't watch Ice Age Prepper, if you watch YouTube videos but you don't watch Ice Age Prepper, you should. He definitely puts out some of the best information out there, talking about crop shortages. It's all over the world, and it's going to start coming to a head. It's going to start reaching that terminal velocity, and we're going to start seeing some problems, and we already are. I've reported the other day of the people that have spoken to me personally that work in grocery industries, talking about how they're being told that things are going to be cut back. Since then, I've received messages and emails, which I am able to read when I leave the property to upload the videos. And so the few that I have read, and I suspect I've got a whole bunch more because my inbox is full, I'm getting reports of people in various other industries where they're telling them they're going to be, going through major cutbacks in employment, in the next month or so, which they shouldn't be. People that are telling me that they're not going to be getting the supplies that they need because they're told that, rail lines are being shut down, which I believe it was Pacific, I can't even remember which train company it was, Pacific Northern or one of them, announced that they were going to shut down train services east for a week. But we're hearing, or at least I'm hearing from several people, that That's looking like multiple train routes, and it's probably going to be for much longer than a week. And of course, they're giving some ridiculous excuses for it. I'm also getting information from people, from shipyards to trucking, to various other industries, and everyone is saying that the predictions of over the next 4, 6, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, that their supplies are going to be even less, or that things aren't going to be getting better when it comes to their supplies and their deliveries. It's going to only get worse. So there does seem to be that there's all those aspects, and they kind of, I think, line up with what's going on with politics and how we've seen this uptick in, I would say, aggressive language when it comes to people like you and I. I don't think it's all for nothing. I don't think it's a coincidence, and we've covered that at length before. So back to the original thing of where I was saying that people keep asking, well, what are we talking about? I know that this is going to sound pretty radical, and I know that others on YouTube are starting to get shut down. I heard just yesterday, I believe it was, that Pinball Preparedness, which is another YouTube channel much like this one, has received a second warning from YouTube, and basically if anything else happens, they're going to completely remove his channel. And he's a YouTube, if you don't watch him, he's a YouTube channel with just a little bit bigger than mine, but he says a lot of the same kind of stuff, very similar format. So they're rapidly getting rid of the opposition in just about every way, all the way from the top down. So what does that mean specifically for you and I? Well, it means that we need to get our houses in order. We need to get ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually prepared, because my personal opinion, and this is just mine, and I'm going to go out on a limb with my radical opinions, is I think we're witnessing the beginning of the fall of our civilization. And this isn't just me saying this. There's articles from MIT professors to Harvard professors that are saying that our civilization, according to the math and the numbers and the science that they've crunched, it's looking like might at the most last until 2040, which isn't that far away. Biblically speaking, if you look at prophecies, the things that are happening here do tend to line up. Not just here, but all over the world. If you look at historically speaking, civilizations like ours, not just American, but this modern civilization, it's highly unlikely that they're going to last much longer going down the path that they're going. So it's very possible that all of this stuff that we're dealing with is indicating that our civilization is collapsing. I'm not saying that it's going to collapse in the next few weeks or few months or even a few years, but it very well could happen within your lifetime. And that's something that, in my opinion, is way bigger than most things that people would get themselves prepared for. So I do believe we need to take it serious, and I need to believe that we need to do everything we can to prepare, and not just having a few weeks worth of food. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but you should have more than that. But you should also start preparing yourself for the possible life of living outside of the system, outside of supply chains, outside of utility companies, and outside of stores to go get your own stuff. It's not just myself. Myself and others that are more knowledgeable than I have made predictions for quite a while now that it's possible that all this technology and all this bringing together of global governments into one kind of central figure could cause a complete reversal or a complete backward spiral when it comes to our civilization, and leave us in the end in kind of a more primitive scenario than what we're living in, meaning that a lot of the technology that you have is not going to be as useful as you think. So all that's being said, that you should prepare, I believe, if you're wanting my advice, I believe you should prepare yourselves to live not just outside that system, but outside the technology as much as possible, because we're not sure in the long run how well the technology will hold up. We don't know that there could be, with all the solar activity that we're seeing from the sun, and the pole shifting possibility here on the planet, and other factors in that arena, that technology may not even be useful. We don't know if there could be some type of war that could render technology useful. So I always believe that a good backup plan should include some primitive things. And I've got a few things. This is actually was all bought just in the last few days to add to our collection. And I was gonna bring a whole bunch of stuff out, but I decided not to. I just wanted to show you what you can find. We stopped at a local kind of flea market thrift store and picked up a few items that most people around here would maybe decorate their business with or something, but they're still in good shape. Here's a crosscut saw in very good shape. A little bit of surface rust, but all the teeth are still there. Other than needing a little sharpening, it would still function just like it was originally designed. And you might say, well, why do you need that? Get you a good chainsaw. I've got a few good chainsaws, but there could come a day that parts and fuel might become a little hard to get with those. And also the fact that they are very loud, and there are times you don't want to bring a lot of attention to you, especially if things start to get bad. So having stuff like this on hand to produce the wood that you might need to heat your home or to build something would be very helpful. Another item that we picked up at the same place was this bad boy. It's quite old, but it's in really good shape. The wood is in good shape. The blade has some wear on it for certain, but there's no pitting in it, and it's got a good life left on that blade. And you might say, well, what in the world do you need one of those for? Well, we have animals that can provide us food and even wool for clothing, but we need to be able to feed them. And there's plenty of grass around here. But something like this, if things get really bad, I can use it to harvest the grasses, to store them, to feed them during the wintertime. Something else I picked up, it's a little bit more rough condition, but it's still quite usable. This old axe. And this was, I could tell by looking at it, and this was made back when the steel was still made out of real steel, and it's not something from China. And so I picked it up because I figure you can never have too many good old steel axe heads. And the handle's not in bad shape. I think it's salvageable. It needs to have a little work done on it, but I think it's okay. Someone's varnished it up, but get that off of it and sharpen it up. The three tools that I have here I purchased for less than $100. And this is an example of some of the stuff that you can get to add to the tools that you have, add to the food that you have, and medical supplies, water purification, and so on. The preps that you have, you should be also along the way collecting items to help you do the things to live your life, to keep your homestead functioning in the event that the technology that you use to make your homestead function becomes non-operable. The other things that I've mentioned on this channel before, we have a flour mill that's hand crank. We have several other tools that are hand crank. We live very close to an Amish community, and they have their own store, and of course a lot of the stuff that they sell there are non-electric kind of manual hand crank items. And over the last year or so, we've picked up a few of those items to add to the gear that we have for self-sufficiency. And some of it we use on a regular basis because we just really like it. Other items are just put away. Of course I don't use an axe and this crosscut saw to harvest the wood that we burn in the wintertime. I use my chainsaws. But what happens when those fail or they're just not able to be used? Stuff like this is going to last pretty much forever if you take care of it. So I would suggest looking into that kind of stuff because, again, I could be wrong. I don't feel that I'm, negative and, pessimistic and a doomsdayer. I think I'm just being realistic. And if you look at the kind of the atmosphere, I guess you could say, around the planet, and you're seeing nation after nation pass various different types of laws and edicts on, collecting information, intrusion in your personal life, restrictions on what you can do, where you can go, what you can think, what you can teach your children. And then, of course, where you can do business, what you can do with your own body. We're starting to see these things maybe at a slower pace, but at least the feelings that are pushing these things are happening here in our own nation. So I suspect we may be behind the curve, but it's definitely moving forward. This kind of world, I don't believe is very sustainable. That they're trying to push, and I know what they believe. They believe that the technology that they're developing is what will be sustainable. They believe that that is what's going to work, and that's why their socialistic, big brother, Marxist system is going to actually work this time, because they're going to have all this massively advanced technology that's going to make their systems work. I don't believe that. I don't buy into it. So what I have done and what we do around here, well, of course we have lots of modern things. I'm talking to you and videoing what I'm saying on a very modern thing, but we also have backup systems. Contingency plans are a must when it comes to your preparedness plan. If your preparedness plan does not have contingency plans, then it's going to fail. It's not going to work. You need to have backups for your backups. And having non-electric, more primitive style tools is certainly part of those backups. If I brought out more, I've got wood chisels and hand crank drills and things like that a lot of people don't use so much on a daily basis, but are very necessary when running a homestead if you don't have the modern technology. So that's my tip for today, is to try to look into that kind of stuff. Most of these things you can still buy new. I can still buy crosscut saws, and, all this kind of stuff brand new. But a lot of times the old stuff is the best. And if you can find it and you're not paying a ridiculous price for it as an antique, I would certainly try to buy it up. Make sure, look at the quality. Some of the stuff, it's pretty wore out. It's been used maybe for displays in, restaurants or stores or in a home. So that's, make sure the quality is still there and that it's not falling apart. But having a few of these items on hand very well could save your neck someday. All right, folks. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.